Hey guys, I think it's a really good time to start looking at Chilling Reign. If you haven't got this in your collection already, I think it's one of the most underrated investments you can get your hands on in 2024. Let me explain why. Welcome back to the Chase Card, everybody. Today's video is all about Chilling Reign. Now, Chilling Reign came out in June 2021, more than 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago. Now, the booster box price for Chilling Reign over the last few months, over the last sort of 3 to 6 months, we're going to go through it. It hasn't done a lot. It's been pretty stagnant. But, you know, the only set from the entire Sword and Shield era that has the top 10 chase cards that are more valuable than this set is Evolving Skies. Chilling Reign literally is the second most expensive set from the entire Sword and Shield era when you calculate the value of those top 10 chase cards. We're going to get into that and a whole lot more. We're going to look at the top 10 chase cards and how they're performing, and I'm going to tell you why I think Chilling Reign is a solid investment still, even though the booster box price lately hasn't really done much. Stay tuned. So we're just going to get straight into it. The 10th most expensive chase card from Chilling Reign is this Galarian Slowking V. You can see here, it's currently got a market price. I'm going off eBay prices, okay? Not off TCG Player. So the eBay price for this one is basically $30. These are all US prices, $30 raw. In a PSA 10, you're looking around that $100 to $101, between $100 and $105. Call it $100, right? Now, if I go back sort of 6 months, this card raw was $26. Again, it's $30. It hasn't done much in the last 6 months. The PSA 10 was $65 6 months ago. It went on a bit of a roller coaster ride up to $108, back down to sort of $90. It's been floating between $90 and $100 really for the most part of the last 6 months. You know, it came off a real low of $65, like I say, 6 months ago. But that's the 10th most expensive chase card from Chilling Reign. It's not the most exciting, but we're going to get through all 10. It's important to know what's in these sets, guys, when you're going to invest in these booster boxes. But honestly, to have the 10th most expensive chase card in a Pokemon set to still be over $30, that shows this set has a lot of depth. That's quite strong. A lot of the Pokemon sets, you get down to the 10th chase card, and some of them are not even over $10. So this is a really deep set, lots of depth. Moving on, the 9th most expensive chase card from Chilling Reign is this Galarian Articuno V. Quite a nice card. I'm not blown away by this card. And I'll let you know which ones I like as we go. It's really neither here nor there. My opinion doesn't matter. The numbers are what matters with me, guys. You'll know when I invest, I really stick to the numbers. I'm a pragmatic investor. I try not to let emotion dictate my investments, okay? And Chilling Reign, though it's not the most popular set, it is really strong, guys. Now, this card in a PSA 10 is currently $125 in a PSA 10 and $35 raw. This purple line here is the PSA 10. I've got rid of the PSA 9 line. It's just too messy. I don't really care about PSA 8s and PSA 9s when it comes to modern cards. I'm all about the 10s. $114 6 months ago and $125 now. It hasn't done a lot over the last 6 months. It had a high back in July in a PSA 10 of 186, but again, it's now 125. If you like this card, maybe not a bad time to pick it up. You'll know if you've watched my other videos, I don't recommend singles or slabs as investments. If you love a card and you want it for your collection, buy it in a dip. If it goes down a bit more, who cares? You bought it not for investment, but because you loved it. Similar theme to everything I talk about in my other videos. I don't recommend singles or slabs as investments, though there is a way to do it. It's not my specialty. I'm all about the booster boxes, baby. Now, the raw card, $43 6 months ago, now $34, $35. It's dropped off. But again, even with these decreases in some of these prices I'm going to go through, really strong prices still, even with the decreases recently. So that's the Articuno V, 9th most expensive. This Galarian Rapidash V, 8th most expensive chase card from Chilling Reign, guys. $37. Again, these are eBay prices. TCG Player, the prices were a little bit different to the eBay prices. In today's video, I'm really looking at the eBay prices to rank my top 10. If I use the TCG Player prices, the list is going to be slightly different for the top 10, slightly different order. It doesn't change a lot, guys. Honestly, it doesn't change a lot. The raw price for this Rapidash, $34 6 months ago, and still there, same, $37. It's not done much. I mean, back in June it was $50. It's come off a little bit again. The PSA 10 price 6 months ago was $82, went up to $124 mid-year, and now it's around that $100 mark. So it's still up slightly, $82 6 months ago and $100 now. It's up slightly. And that's the 8th most expensive card. Again, not my personal favorite. Most of these cards aren't. I'm in it for the numbers with this particular set. It's a really strong set. I'm investing in it. I've got a few booster boxes. I want to get a couple more. I don't have nearly enough. But again, I'm not investing in it because I personally love the cards. There's only a couple of cards in this list that I really like, and I will tell you what ones they are. But this is a strong investment, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, so I'm not going to say that again. Strong investment. Okay, the PSA 10 6 months ago was $64, and now it's basically $80 for a PSA 10. The raw price 6 months ago was $36, and now it's $43. So not too exciting, guys. There's 1,359 PSA 10s on the planet. I mean, the Sword and Shield era was really a heavily graded era. If you go back to the Sun and Moon, the PSA numbers are a lot lower, significantly lower than the Sword and Shield era. People went nuts in the Sword and Shield era when it comes to grading cards. There are so many. So just over 1,300 PSA 10s in existence for this card, this Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. Now, what did I say? This is the 7th. This is the 7th most expensive chase card from Chilling Reign. I've only ever opened I think I opened 2 Chilling Reign booster boxes last year, and then some Chilling Reign loose packs in different collections, UPCs and things like that. The best card I ever pulled was probably that, I'll flick back to it, this Slowking V. That's it. So last year I literally sat there and opened 2 booster boxes, I think it was, which cost me 350 Australian dollars. And the most expensive card I got was $45. I got it graded. I think it was only a 9. So, I mean, that's why you keep your product sealed. The money is in the sealed product, guys. I know it's not as exciting. It's a bit boring sitting on a product on a shelf for years, but that's where the money is. So, anyway, there's the Ice Rider Calyrex. That's the 7th most expensive card. Moving on, the Zapdos V. This is the 6th most expensive card from Chilling Reign, right? Now, there's 1,964 PSA 10s in existence. Obviously, that doesn't take into consideration Beckett's and CGCs, TCGs, and other grading companies. PSA is by far the largest, and just under 2,000 PSA 10s in the world. The PSA 10s, $109, $110 for this one. The raw price 6 months ago was $45, and now it's sitting at $45 still. It's literally done nothing in the last 6 months. PSA 10 6 months ago was $111. Around mid-year, went up to $139, $140, and it's back to where it was 6 months ago, around that $110 mark. Again, if you love the Zapdos V, maybe look at picking it up soon. It may get a little bit cheaper, it may not. But one thing's for sure, those booster boxes aren't going to get a lot cheaper. So trying to buy the booster boxes to pull any of these cards, it's really not the ideal way to get them. Just buy the ones you like. That's pretty much what I do. I don't buy many singles or slabs. Very rarely do I buy singles or slabs. There's a few that are on my hit list that I do want to buy, and a couple that I've bought, but I don't do many slabs or singles, guys. I've still got a huge backlog of singles that I've pulled over the last few years that I still need to get graded. So I just don't buy many singles at all. But I like to go through them with you. It's important to know the numbers when you're investing in these sets and these booster boxes. Now, this is the Zeraora V. What I'm up to, this is the 5th most expensive chase card from Chilling Reign. $44, $45 for the Zeraora V. Now, 6 months ago, the PSA 10 was $87, went up to $131 around June. Now the PSA 10 is $110. So it's come off a bit, as a lot of these have in the last 3-4 months. It's come off in price a bit, but still worth a bit more than what it was in a PSA 10 6 months ago. 6 months ago, Raw was $37, and now it's $45. So this one's actually gone up a little bit, both in a PSA 10 and in the Raw price over the last 6 months. It has gone up a little bit, even though it's had some recent drops in the last few months. So down over the last 3 months, but up over the last 6, if that makes sense. And that's number 5, right? Again, we're five chase cards deep, and we're still hitting Raw cards over $40. You can't say that about mini sets, guys. We're going to get to the big boys in a minute. Now, just flicking back, let's flick back to that Zeraora. There's just under 2,000 PSA 10s, okay? 1,929 PSA 10s. Now, this is probably Yeah, I'd say this is probably my favourite chase card from Chilling Reign. I don't own it. I may pick it up at some stage, but again, I don't lose sleep over not owning singles. I'll pick one up here and there. But if I was going to buy a single from Chilling Reign, it would be this Snorlax Gold. Not everyone loves the gold cards. I do. I personally love a lot of the gold cards that come out in some of these sets. I think they're nice. They just look great. I guess I just love gold. But that's a Snorlax Gold. There's 3,627 PSA 10s on the planet. The PSA 10s go for 130. The raw card's 66. 6 months ago, the PSA 10 was 143 and it's dropped off, like I say, 129, 130. It was up to 155 back in May. It hasn't done a lot. It's down a little bit, guys, since sort of May. Again, it was 155 in May. It's $25 cheaper now. The raw price 6 months ago was 60 and it's pretty much 66. This is almost flatlined for the last 6 months. This is why I don't make videos. I don't often make videos saying run out and buy this chase card now. When the really big bad boys plummet in price, I might make a video saying, hey, maybe jump on these soon. But generally speaking, I don't press the FOMO button on many of these things. There's usually a good window of opportunity to pick them up. And I never recommend FOMO investing. I should do a video on FOMO soon because there's a lot of that going on at the moment with different sets. The fact that the Pokemon Company can print between 9 and 11 billion Pokemon cards every year and still create scarcity and FOMO is just magic. They really know what they're doing there at the Pokemon Company. But anyway, that's another story. So there's a Snorlax Gold. That's, again, the fourth most expensive chase card from Chilling Reign at $66 raw. Here's the Shadow Rider Calyrex. Now, this Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, I'm not a big fan of the Ice Rider, the Shadow Rider Calyrexes in this set. This is the artwork that really comes on the Elite Trainer boxes, is the Shadow Rider Ice Riders. The raw price is currently $67. Again, these are eBay prices, US prices. PSA 10, $115. Now, the PSA 10 was $82 6 months ago. Went up to $189, $190 back in July. Now down to $115. This has really dropped off since July. It's still up on the 6 months, but it had that massive spike in July and it's just dropped off massively. The raw price, $47 6 months ago, went up to $96, almost $100, and now down to $67. So it's gone up from $47 to $67 in 6 months. However, like I say, a couple of months back, it almost hit $100. So it had this huge spike, and again, it's just settling down a bit. It's just settling down a bit. Again, if you like this card, maybe look at picking it up soon. This video is not really about recommending single chase cards. This really is to show you the strength of Chilling Reign. And we're going to get into some of the total combined value numbers shortly. Just give me a minute, guys. We're going to get into it. But the top two most expensive chase cards, here we are. This is the second most expensive card, the Galarian Moltres V. Really nice card. Again, honestly, I'm not going to go out and buy it, guys. I'm a sealed investor. I just can't buy all these big chase cards. If I don't pull it, I don't pull it. I don't lose sleep. But this is a really nice card. It really is. The top two chase cards in this set are quite good. The Snorlax Gold is still my favorite, even though it's only like $65. So this Galarian Moltres V, $116 raw. It was $118 6 months ago. It went up to $160. And now it's pretty much exactly where it was 6 months ago. So it had a massive spike, $160 raw. Now it's back to where it was 6 months ago, around that $115 mark. Again, like the others, if you like it, maybe a good time to look at picking it up soon. If you can get it close to that $100, $110 mark, maybe over the long term, it's a good pickup. Again, I don't recommend singles as investments. I recommend booster boxes, and Chilling Reign is the creme de la creme. The PSA 10, right? $222 6 months ago, went up to $330 odd in June, and now the PSA 10's around $250. Again, these are recent eBay sale prices. $250 for a PSA 10. Again, 6 months ago was $225. So it's up slightly on the 6 months, but it's down over the last few months from its big spike. I know these prices over the last few months don't look exciting, so why am I talking up Chilling Reign? The numbers, even with the recent price drops, are still big. I mean, let me flick back here. The 10th most expensive chase card's $30 raw. There's not a lot of sets you can say that about. Now, the number one chase card, guys, this Blaziken VMAX. $413 in a PSA 10 currently, $266 raw. Now that's a pretty big chase card. It's not the most expensive it's ever been, and I'm only going back six months. I'm not going back all the way, guys. But 6 months ago, this was $388 in a PSA 10. Went up to $535, $538, almost $540 in a PSA 10 from $388. Went up like $120 like that. But now it's sitting at $413, right? Again, 6 months ago, $384, now $413. It's up like 20, what's that, like 29, basically call it $30, $29-$30 in the last 6 months. Again, that's why I don't say rush out and get this now. You need to buy this now. FOMO. You look at 6 months and it's almost the same price. There's not always a rush to get these cards. Get them in the dips if you love them and you can afford to. The raw price 6 months ago, 201, went up to like 320 in April. From early April raw to late April. Literally in a month, it went from 200 to 320, 318. And since April, it's just the raw price has just been dropping. It's had some spikes and some peaks and some valleys. It went down to 194 here in August, and now it's 266. So since August, we're in October now, sort of mid-October, and it's gone up from August 194 to 266. So it's on the rise again over the last sort of September, like last 6 weeks or so. It's on the rise again. So maybe it's bouncing back. Maybe it is going to get stronger and stronger. Maybe it's up and up from here on in. Those 10 chase cards, guys, like I say, this is not the most popular set. There would be people that probably prefer something like Fusion Strike. I know people that actually like the cards in Astral Radiance, for example, more than this set. But the thing is, guys, I have to take an unemotional, unbiased, pragmatic investment philosophy when it comes to these things, and not get emotional, not offer just my opinion. And the top 10 chase cards in this set, I've written them down so I don't forget here. The top 10 chase cards in this set are up to $747. Now, some people would say that Fusion Strike or Lost Origin is a better set than this. Now, better, when someone says something is a better set or the best set, to me, that sounds like they're offering their opinion, okay? The facts of the matter are that this is the second most expensive set after Chilling Reign. Now, Chilling Reign is a mile in front of anything, but this is the second most expensive set when it comes to the value of the top 10 chase cards. The people that think Fusion Strike is better than this, you're not far off, but Fusion Strike, the top 10 chase cards are worth about $15 or $20 less than the top 10 chase cards in this. Now, those numbers can shift like that. In the space of a week, those numbers could change. So this is very close to Fusion Strike. There is an argument to be made that Fusion Strike is the second most valuable set, but at the moment, Chilling Reign is, and I think Chilling Reign has more depth when you get to the 10th chase cards and it's over $30. But Lost Origin, the top 10 chase cards are like $580. This set, the top 10 are almost $750, $747, right? No comparison. Again, when I get comments on this video saying I'm wrong, Fusion Strike is better, or Lost Origin's better, or this is better, or that's better, tell me what you mean by better. Because when I look at the numbers, the facts are Chilling Reign is stronger. So I have to go with the numbers as an investor. I believe that that's going to matter. I believe the top 10 chase cards, the value of those chase cards, are going to correlate to a stronger booster box investment. So guys, if you haven't got Chilling Reign in your collection, go grab a booster box. That's still the best way to get it. The booster box is here. $214 US, right? Over here in Australia, we can get it on the secondary market for around 330 Australian dollars, right? A year ago, this booster box was 146. It did have a big spike. It's up 46% in 12 months. Show me a stock. Show me a stock that's up 46% that you invested in the last 12 months. Like, this is such a simple investment philosophy. If you can afford to invest in Pokemon, make it the fun part of your investment. Don't go all in. Only if you can afford to dabble in it, dabble in it. But if you're going to make investments in Pokemon booster boxes, tune into channels like mine. There are other people out there that offer their opinions and their analysis. I think you'll find that most people will say Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, or Chilling Reign are really the strongest sets. I'm showing you the clear-cut numbers. Chilling Reign is by far an underrated, undervalued set. It's up 46%. in the last 12 months. Over the last 3 months, it's flat. It's done nothing. And over the last 6 months, it's flat. It says it's down 1% in 6 months. Should that scare you to not invest? Should you stay away from Chilean Rain because over the last 6 months, it's done nothing? If I said to buy this 6 months ago and you sat there watching it for 6 months and it did nothing, would I be wrong? No. You got to look at the long time horizon, guys. A long-term time horizon. Do you think this Chilean Rain booster box, it's $214 now, do you think it's going to be worth $200 or more in 2 years? In 5 years, do you think it's going to be worth double or the same? Do you think it's going to be worth triple? I don't think this is going to go down much. When I look at the downside and the upside, I say the downside is maybe it could go to $200, $14 cheaper than what it is now, in which case I'll buy another set because I already think it's undervalued at $214. The upside is I think it could double. I think it could triple. I think it could go to the moon. I think in 5 years this will be a $1,000 booster box. I may be wrong. Let's say I'm wrong, and in 5 years it's worth $500 or $600. It's a pretty good investment. Guys, get Chilean Rain into your collection. Get a Chilean Rain booster box into your collection if you can afford it. If you can't really afford a booster box, if you want a lower entry product, here's the ETB. The Elite Trainer box has 8 booster packs. In these Sword and Shield ETBs, there's no promo card like the Scarlet and Violet ones, and there's 1 booster pack less compared to the Scarlet and Violet ETBs that have 9. But anyway, $50 for a ETB for Chilean Rain. It's a good option. Pick up 1 or 2 of these when you can afford it. Put them in your collection. I think the booster boxes are the best way to go and going to have the biggest returns. But at $50, these ETBs are a really good pickup still. Up 12% in the last 6 months. Over the last 6 months, it's actually outperformed the booster box. We saw the booster box was quite flat. So the ETBs, I don't always recommend ETBs. Or I usually say get the booster box when you can. I think long term they're going to be a better return on your investment. But it's hard to go wrong with a $50 ETB from Chilean Rain. You get 8 packets in it. Really strong set. The top 2 chase cards are really strong, and the other cards in the set are pretty good, and it's got a lot of depth. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching the chase card, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.